Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of HBCU Conversations. You know, we started this conversation with BJ Jones. He's our SWAC insider, our college football insider. He had a graphic the first time. We got to get him on. We got to get him on the screen here. So I got him on standby here. BJ, football in the fall. Oh, buddy, I'm kind of feeling like it might not happen. Do you have more optimism than me?
I think the last time we talked, I said I was 50-50. I'm about 40-60 now. I think that I would have to be an extreme optimist to believe that we have a season in the way that we would have drawn it out, which should start in September. I think that it's possible for us to get an October or November start. I just don't see things playing out and being safe enough to have that late August, September start.
What do you think coaches are going through right now? Like, they didn't have spring ball. They don't have access to their kids. They don't know what type of training they're doing. They don't know if they're going to play a full schedule, a partial schedule, a spring schedule. Like, what do you think is going through a mind of what is an absolute control freak, because it's part of the job, a college football coach?
Man, coaches are pulling their hair out just because what you just hit on. Coaches are control freaks. They like to be in control of what's going on and have you prepared for what they know will happen. Well, with this, there's so many different unknowns. You don't know what may happen from one moment to the next. And I think the biggest thing for coaches is you're not able to have your guys on the field. You're not able to have your guys on campus. And that's a headache within itself. I mean, football is a sport of repetition. The more you do something, the better you become. And not getting those reps in practice, that's really stressing coaches out a lot, because, you know, players get comfortable with what you're coaching them to do with repetition. And you have to actually go out and do the things that you're coached to do to get better. So I know a lot of coaches, they aren't liking it. But I will say that coaches are working with what they have. They're using the technology. They're using Zoom. They're using Apple Watches. They're using different technology to try to help things, make things a little bit better, get them a little close to normal.
You are a former college football player yourself. Can you put yourself in a kid's shoes, not only a college athlete, think about a high school senior, BJ, who might be getting ready to go into college, and he might miss an entire year of high school football, and then he still has to somehow get ready physically for what might be his next year of football, which will be on an entirely different level.
Man, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, and then the only thing that you can do is just try to keep working. And that's the biggest thing. Guys who really want to do this, and guys who kind of just do it because, you know, they're there, those guys will be separated, especially right now. I always tell guys at the high school level, if someone has to tell you, you need to go work out, you need to go do this, you need to go do X, Y, and Z, then you're not really ready for college football. And during this time, really, there's no one around you to tell you to do the things necessary for you to be prepared and be ready to go. So the guys who are working, that are grinding still, their hard work will show up once everything opens up. But I couldn't imagine what these guys are going through right now. I mean, like I said, there's so many things that you want to do, and having a playbook is different. Because, like I said, you have to be on the field. Small things that people don't think about. If I'm a wide receiver and I'm playing, does coach want me further out to the sideline to pull the safety over on this formation? And on another formation, should I be closer to the hash to kind of condense things out to give me more room to get to the sideline if I have a route that's called to the sideline? For an offensive lineman, do I need to – how far off the tackle, how far off the guard's heel do I need to be? How far away do our splits need to be on this formation or that formation, or this power run play, or, opposite side play, run play? Things that people don't think about that you don't get comfortable with without repetition.
BJ, is football to the point now where it is so advanced in the training that it is unreasonable to expect a kid can just go home and find a hill and run some hills and do some push-ups and work on his footwork or, whatever rudimentary things that, maybe back in the day was okay. Are we just so far beyond that, or is that still a possibility?
Oh man, that stuff still works. I mean, that stuff still works. I mean, that stuff worked for 100 years before sports science, became a part of the game, and that stuff will still work. You can still implement some of the things that you need to implement from a technology standpoint. You see a lot of people going with the Apple Watches, giving their teams Apple Watches, tracking their progress with what they're doing. You can still incorporate some of those things and still kind of do what we call the old school workout as well.
What was your old school workout? What did a young BJ do back in the day?
Oh man, so I attended Jackson Nolan High School, Birmingham, Alabama, and Jackson Nolan was during the time put out a lot of college football players. So during the summer, all the guys would reconvene at the high school, and we had what we call the Hill. And when you first got to Jackson Nolan High School, the Hill, they said the Hill made boys into men. And we worked that hill. We pulled sleds up that hill. We did the workouts that we hated doing while we were there. But we would do the bell crawls up the hills, the back pedals up the hills, the the side shuffles, up the hills. We would literally work that hill, work the sleds, and do the mat drills that we did in the high school to kind of keep us ready to go during the summer. And it was, like I said, it was a great thing because you had guys who were 2 or 3 classes ahead. They came from different schools, whether it was South Carolina State, whether it was Grambling, Bethune-Cookman, West Alabama, or Alabama A&M. You had all those guys who played at the collegiate level, that knew what you were going through, and some of those guys that you were even had to compete against once the season started. So it was fun times for us.
Well, I would say in high school, I listened to some Boys to Men. I don't know about any physical activity that turned me into a man. BJ, you follow this stuff real closely. Is there any possibility of a scenario that you see that is feasible for all parties, big schools, little schools, schools in between, where you can play a game with no fans or try some sort of, hey, you sit over there, don't get too close. This section, you can go to the bathroom now. All the rules that would have to be in place to try to do it outside of what we are normally accustomed to experiencing college football.
I haven't seen anything yet. And I think that Mark Emmert was, I watched his interview on last week where he said that college football is different than the NFL. The NFL can get away without, playing with fans in the stands just because of the television contracts, the Sunday ticket, the different things that the NFL has to make money. College football, most of the revenue comes from ticket sales, getting people on campus, getting people to buy concessions, getting people to pay for tailgating, getting people actually on campus. And he was basically saying, if there's no school, and no people on campus, then you won't have college football. So those things will be in unison with each other. If you're not able to have kids on campus, then you won't have football.
It's just there's so many sent for me, and I've never played a down in my life, but just as a fan and someone who covers it professionally, it's just when that air gets a little chill, the grass smells a certain way, there's a certain amount of dew in the evening. It's like all those things just trigger. I need to be at a football stadium right now.
Oh man, and when you've played, and me and Mo Carter talked about this. In late July, you started to get what you call, your body tells you, hey, it's that time. And I haven't played college football in over a decade, but your body tells you, hey, it's that time. It's that time. And you start feeling like you should be doing something because it's camp time. It's time for those 2-a-days. It's time for those dog days of summer to get you, prepared for the season. And it's amazing that you still feel that 10 years plus after going through it. So, man, it would feel, like I say, I couldn't imagine not having it, but at the same time, I understand the importance of human life and I would say losing one life is one too many. But when you see the numbers that we've lost across the United States to this virus, man, it really puts things in perspective that, you have life and death, and what we do, even though we're in the South, and people will say football is life and death, but no, football is actually a game. There's real life and death scenarios playing out in front of us day in and day out right now.
Before we let you go, man, first of all, just thank you for joining us, taking some time out of your day. I know you're working from home. I'm teaching from home. I'm the school cafeteria guy. I'm having to learn Spanish. I'm over here home broadcasting. If you see me keep looking over here, I'm keeping up with the audio and making sure you don't have to deal with any obnoxious echo. And I got BJ on not Skype, Zoom over here. So there's a lot going on. So thank you. Thank all the viewers at home. Thank you, Cross Colors, for now providing HBCU Game Day with clothing. BJ, let everybody know where they can follow you on Twitter. You have some good stuff out there. Great insight.
Oh, man, you can find me on Twitter at Inside HBCU Football. Also on Facebook, BJ Jones, or at the Inside HBCU Football page. Also, for you guys wondering, man, I'm working on a podcast called The Barbershop. The Barbershop with BJ Jones. We'll be talking sports, man, HBCU football mainly, but it's the world where sports collides with a little bit of politics, man, maybe a little bit of entertainment. It's just a place that we're just gonna have a lot of fun. So that's the Barbershop with BJ Jones. That's going to be coming here soon.
All right, I'll tell you what else needs to collide, BJ. My head and a barbershop, but I gotta wait. I can't get the Rona, so I gotta deal with this. I need some tips from you, man. I see you're working it out.
Man, look, I'm struggling, man. I thought about it. I had a guy who was like, "Hey, I can do this," but the first thing crossed my mind was like, "Man, how many people hair are you cutting?"
Right.
And you know what I mean? So, man, I'm struggling, man. I need to go see a loctician. I need to go to the barbershop. But hey, at the end of the day, man, I'd much rather look like this and be here than the on the opposite side. So
for sure. Look, I've paid my barber twice in the last month. Obviously, have not got a single haircut, but I need him to stay in business. Look, my little $30 is just a small part. That can't sustain him, but hopefully other people are doing that. But as you said, I don't know where those clippers been.
Right. And I don't know what kind of air you've been breathing.
Yeah, for sure. He's BJ Jones. I'm Tali Carr. You've been watching HBCU Conversations, brought to you by Cross Colors here on HBCU Game Day. You guys have a great day.